I remember the exact angle of the light on the kitchen floor the night she asked for it. She stood by the sink, shoulders tight, like she was holding herself together with her own hands. The fridge hummed. The clock ticked. Everything in the house sounded too loud. "Just 1 week," she said. 1 week alone, like it was a harmless request. Like it was a vacation. Like it was a breath. I nodded. I said, "Okay, you can have all the time you want." Her face changed the moment the words left my mouth. Not relief. Panic. A small, desperate flinch, like she'd expected me to fight. Like she'd expected me to beg. She stared at me as if I'd turned into someone else. Then she smiled. Too fast, too bright. "Thank you," she whispered. And she walked away like a woman who'd just survived a storm. But I didn't feel like I'd won anything. I felt like I'd just opened a door. The week wasn't about space. It was about hiding. I saw it in the way she stopped leaving her phone on the counter. I saw it in the way she began closing the bathroom door behind her. I saw it in the way she started dressing with a care that wasn't for me. No more careless shirts. No more loose hair, no more tired eyes. She was preparing for something or someone. I tried to tell myself it was nothing. A retreat, a mental break, a reset. But the truth doesn't always arrive with a bang. Sometimes it arrives in small, quiet signals, like a message sent at 2:17 a.m. and deleted 2 seconds later. Like a receipt from a cafe she never mentioned. Like the faint perfume on her coat that wasn't hers. The suspicion grew in me like a slow, patient infection. I watched her every move, not because I wanted to catch her, but because I needed to know if the person I loved had become a stranger. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I didn't want to ruin the moment. I didn't want to give her a chance to lie. I wanted the truth to arrive cleanly, and I wanted it to be undeniable. The investigation was quiet. I didn't break locks. I didn't follow her. I didn't become a man I would hate. I just became a man who knew how to wait. I ordered a new phone for myself. I got a second SIM. I started logging everything. Calls, messages, locations. I didn't need to see her face in someone else's arms to know what was happening. I just needed the pattern, the rhythm, the proof. Then I did something that felt like crossing a line. But I didn't feel guilty. I felt necessary. I checked the bank statements. The charges were small, too small to notice, but they were consistent. A hotel, a late-night dinner, a car service. I found one that mattered. A ring, a jewelry store, a date. 3 days ago. I didn't need to guess anymore. I already knew. She was lying. She had been lying for months. She had been living a double life in plain sight. And she was good at it. That was the worst part. She was good. The truth arrived the way all truths arrive when you don't want them to. Silently, without warning. A notification. A PDF attachment. A lab report. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I didn't understand. Because I did. The DNA results were clear. The child we raised together, the child I had held and loved and worried about, was not mine. The numbers didn't lie. The match was for a different man. A man I didn't know. A man she had never mentioned. The betrayal wasn't just infidelity. It was a life built on a lie. A lie I had been living. I printed the report. I put it in a folder. I waited. When she came home, she moved like a woman who thought she'd already won. She walked in with the same fake calm. The same practiced smile. She kissed my cheek. "Thank you for understanding," she said. Her voice was too steady. Her eyes were too bright. She was expecting me to beg her to stay. She was expecting me to apologize. She was expecting me to be broken. I led her to the dining room. The folder was on the table. She saw it. Her smile faltered. Her eyes widened. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She just stared at the paper like it was a trap, like it was something she hadn't planned for. I sat down. I placed my hands on the table. I kept my voice even. "Do you want to tell me the truth?" I asked. "Or do you want to keep pretending?" Her throat bobbed. She swallowed. I didn't mean," she started. But she stopped. Because she realized I already knew. Because she realized the moment had arrived. The moment she could no longer control. She looked at the report like it was a verdict. And in a way it was. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I didn't beg. I simply said 1 week alone. That's what you asked for. Her lips trembled. She tried to speak again. I held up my hand. No, I said. Not yet. I slid the folder across the table. Read it, I told her. She stared at the report. Then at me. Then back at the report. Her face turned pale. Her eyes filled. Not with tears. With panic. With the realization that the person she had been manipulating had finally stopped playing along. She whispered, I didn't mean for it to happen. I looked at her. I let her feel the weight of those words. I let her see the truth reflected in my eyes. Because she needed to understand that the moment wasn't about her excuses. It was about her choices. She had chosen to build a life that wasn't real. And now that life was collapsing, she sat down. Her hands shook. She looked like a woman who had finally realized she was alone. I didn't offer her comfort. I didn't offer her forgiveness. I didn't offer her a way back. I simply said, you wanted a week alone. Then I stood up. The revenge wasn't violent. It wasn't dramatic. It was precise. It was the kind of revenge that leaves a person staring at their own reflection and realizing they've been living a lie. I called the school. I called the daycare. I called the people who mattered. I told them the truth. Not with anger, with certainty. I removed her name from everything, from the accounts, from the emergency contacts, from the shared passwords, from the life we had built together. I didn't ruin her. I just took away the power she thought she had. I took away the narrative. I took away the control. She begged. She pleaded. She tried to make it about love, about mistakes, about forgiveness. I listened. I let her speak. Then I turned away, because the only thing she truly needed to hear was the sound of her own guilt. When the last door closed behind her, the house felt like a place I'd never lived in. The silence was heavy, but it was clean. I stood in the kitchen. The light was the same. The clock still ticked. The fridge still hummed. But I was different. Not broken, not healed. Just awake. The betrayal didn't destroy me. It sharpened me. It taught me what I couldn't see. It taught me the truth about the woman I thought I knew. I looked at the folder on the table. The report, the proof, the evidence of a life stolen from me, and I felt nothing. Not sorrow, not anger, only clarity. I had given her what she asked for. A week alone, and she had panicked because she realized the week wasn't a gift. It was a countdown. She had finally seen the man she'd underestimated. A man who didn't need to chase her. A man who didn't need her to stay. A man who could live without the lie. I took a breath. And for the first time in months, I felt something like peace. Not happiness. Not joy. Peace. Quiet. Final. I walked away. And I never looked back.